Live. Nova Scotia Organic to the Land is back, and I am back with a special guest. And tonight is going to be a powerful one. We just been chatting in the back room and watching you all come into the room and whoa. So without further ado, I must introduce who needs no introduction because she's definitely known to the spiritual tarot world because she's a runner in that world. But I met her because she came by my channel. She's going to explain that one. But Roots and Wave, and we come to know her as Angie, aka Connector, aka wait, uh, Quick Draw McGraw.
Right, Rob McGraw, yes.
So I
Oh,
say welcome, welcome, and I thank you for taking the time to take the time and give me some of your valuable, precious time.
oh,
So
yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here, Hilda. You are such a beautiful person, and I'm so grateful that we have connected by way of the internet, of YouTube. I mean, the power of the internet and connecting people around the world is just amazing. And I think that's one of the things we're going to talk about today, which is
yeah,
great.
yes,
But yeah, thanks for having me. I'm totally pumped to be here, especially your first guest, which I was truly honored. So thank you for having me. Yeah.
that's the powerful thing. My first guess, and I just gotta lead in saying this is that you know what? When I tell you all that this powerful spirit being setting across from me as the camera gives it uh that is we are graced with tonight is just not a connector. She's the real deal. She's the real deal. That's authentic, 10 toes down, knows who she is, and a part of that is she just doesn't connect people. A lot of us on this YouTube street is new.
Hmm.
And I might have the gift to give, but I can tell you right now, I definitely ain't got none of that technical crap down. And I won't call it crap because it's going to be a part of my higher learning. But you know, uh, to be graced with getting to know you at this time, and you coming into my life, and you've been so helpful, and we're all talking about some of the other girls too, but you've all been so helpful. But you in particular, you show up in I'm gonna make me cry in all
Oh.
lives, and when you don't show up, you'll either be there with a comment, and it's always of that big sister support that and I don't even want to say big sister support. I want to say we overuse the word friend, and you're just a you have been a beautiful experience from day one. I feel that you've been sent through spirit, and and
Hmm.
and tonight is special. It will be. I can do 100,000 after tonight, but tonight will be the most special. And I know that I will be doing it with someone who I know we've definitely been other lifetime, but that's what
Hmm.
I.
Oh, thank you. And I just want to say we're both coming to you from Canada. So whoop,
Yes,
representing Canada. Canada's in the house tonight. We
yes.
have Hilda on the East Coast of Nova Scotia, and I am in Ontario. The most southern point you can possibly go in Canada, pretty much, is where I am. So, yeah, we got some
My
Canadian
old
energy
stomping
coming at
ground,
you.
almost my old stomping ground.
Yep, almost.
Yeah.
Almost. So, yeah, this is great. Like you were saying, in terms of like us interconnecting and how that happened and how spirit has led, I think that'd be a good jumping off point. So I was, perusing the YouTube streets as we do, and
Yeah.
I was watching someone else's video, and I don't remember who because I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't subscribe to cable TV, nothing like that. So YouTube is my
Mhm.
entertainment. It's not just entertainment for me though. It's where I learn things. And oh, we have some Jesus loves me in the chat here. Oh, Jesus loves you too, but We don't need to spam the chat with that too. But thank
Thank
you.
you.
Um, and Jesus does love you, so thanks for being here.
Thank you.
But so
Thank
anyway, you know how like when you're watching a video and then like on the sidebar, YouTube like gives you a suggested video or something like that. So I'm just like watching, and all of a sudden I see this little square pop up, and it looked like somebody was like throwing wood. And I thought, oh, and I love nature. I love being out in
you.
nature. I grew up in it. You know, my grandparents, which is my stepdad's parents, how they grew up, or excuse how they lived to the day they died, actually. They didn't have running water. They heated their house with the wood stove, and so I was
Mhm.
very familiar with chopping wood and chucking it into the basement to to stack it. So I was like, this is my kind of girl. Like, what's going on here? So I clicked on the video, and I'm going to share the link right now to that video just so that you can see which video I'm talking about. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so here is the video I found Hilda with.
I
There.
remember
I'll
that.
put that in the chat. There. And so that's the video if you want to check it out. And instantly, and I even said it right in the comment, I connected with your energy. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
I really like her. I want to get to know her. I want to see what's going on. And I don't really, I'll be honest, I don't often get that through YouTube. I mean, certainly there are thousands of amazing people out here, and I personally have connected with hundreds of them, and I'm very, very grateful for each and every connection, truly. But there are some times when there's certain people that are like, there's
Mm.
something more to this, right? Like I'm being led to this. And so, anyhow, I immediately was connected. And then I was like, I have to share Hilda with Lexi. So, Lexi, for anybody that she's in the chat, hey, girl, Alexis Milner in the chat. She has a channel too, and I was like, I've got to share Hilda with Lexi too. I just had this pull. So I was like, you gotta, I sent her the link, you gotta check this out. Like she's amazing energy. She's like, yeah. And wouldn't you know, the very next day, I believe, or maybe even that day, I forget, but Lexi shared you on her channel. And I think the rest is history because
It is.
that's how it branched out. Like more people were discovering you by way of her channel, and then like we just branched out, and there's so many other people that have discovered you since. And I mean, not just from our circles, I mean from all over the place. Your channel is growing at a rapid rate, and I believe that's because you're sharing your truth, you're speaking, your story, and I believe that that's very, very important. And it's something that some of us struggle with because there's
Mm.
certain parts of our story maybe we're not ready to share, or maybe we're not willing to share publicly, right? But so that is in a nutshell of how we met. And I will tell you that that was only about a month and a half ago, and I, honest to God, it feels like a year or two ago. um we have not known each other that long, but it feels like so much longer. And I think that's what happens when you make like a soul connection with somebody, where it feels like you must have known each other in a different lifetime, right? Wouldn't you say?
Oh, you because you were talking about the YouTube streets, and
Mm.
you meet lots of people, and all of that. But one of the things I'm noticing in terms of my uh, radar, having to navigate it differently, and it also growing since I've started my channel, and having more interactions with people in an online fashion.
Yes.
But
Yes.
your radar becomes more tuned, or for me, and for me with you, when I saw you show up in my comment section, it was about the energy that I felt coming off of your words.
Mm,
And that's what really drew me, because I tell you, I can feel the energy behind a comment. And I was just truly, truly drawn. And I think that that was spirit, because spirit had something else in
yeah.
store for that moment. Because what took place after that, well, you said, it was like fire ever since then. So
Hmm.
powerful things are happening, and spirit is bringing us chosen together for this time period, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Beautiful.
I think so. Yeah, we've had some pretty well amazing, powerful conversations behind the scenes, of course. And
Mm.
yeah, and definitely have been able to help each other through some shit that we're going through. And I
Mhm.
mean, well, Yeah, I'm so grateful for this connection. And when you said, "Hey, will you come live and talk about this with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it," because I know that this, we're not the only ones out here. That there's other people that are either being drawn to us or being drawn to one another in a certain way. In terms of how the web works out here, literally the World Wide Web. So yeah, I just think it's a beautiful thing. And I think that you mentioned something really important, and that was sort of like how to navigate online friendships. It's
Mm.
a different kind of a thing. It really is. Because here, like, we've never met in person, but I don't know. To me, I almost um have the opportunity to get to know someone more because you're following their channel, which is like
That's
like
right.
I always say that our YouTube channels are our portals, our own
Mm.
personal portals, that we're inviting people into our energy and to things like that, right? So you're
Mm.
being invited in that way. And then if you have the ability to talk to someone behind the scenes of their channel, then you get to know them on a personal level. And um I just feel like I am closer, and I know people online maybe even more than I know in person, because I don't know, it's just the way that we're able to connect. Certainly, of course, the way we're able to connect over things that we have in common, either things we're going through in life, or our spirituality, or the tarot decks, or whatever it might be. So there's that commonality that brings us in, and then you're able to explore more of that person, like maybe we have something more in common. So yeah, I just think it's a magical thing, really.
I just want to say too as well, it is magical, but also I think what makes it so dynamic is the fact that it is that spiritual connection.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know what, when you and I connected, it was we could take a conversation. I didn't have to uh, fill in the gaps for you.
No.
I didn't have to overspeak. I could make a statement and you knew exactly. Not only did you know, but you could grow upon that statement and we could go into it. Listen, in this spiritual walk, I can guarantee you, you'll walk it a lot alone because
Hmm.
you no longer fit inside the spaces and places
Yes, that's
that
right.
you do. And not only that, but not everyone is thinking on the level that you are, and nor the intensity that
Hmm.
you may be. And then you put the planetary shifts and all of that going on that, you know, what we are going through. You
Hmm.
need someone that also knows how to gauge that you're both gauging. You both might be going through something, but you can, it just, for me, I went from walking in a world where it was like a wilderness because other than my sister who once she found her spiritual walk which didn't come until later. I walked most of my walk by myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
My whole point being is it gets a little lonely
Yes,
and
it
I
can.
get a little tired, so it
Yes.
was like I remember my God, my first encounter with you and Lexi, and we had a group call
Yeah.
in my from being in the wilderness for so long, and that's how I'm going to call it because I've been isolated,
Yep.
and even when I wasn't able to talk on that level that I was able to chat with you guys, so I was like verbal diarrhea. And someone that did not know how to interrupting and all of that, I thought I was going to have to bring my spoon tonight.
Oh no. No, no, it was great. And there are definitely times in our life where we have to walk alone because it's part of that healing, right? Like we're only like we have to sit in it. And sometimes we have to sit in it so long before we get so sick of it. Or like, I'm tired of myself. I'm tired of this shit. And
Yeah,
that's like what
yeah,
brings you down into it, and it makes you like feel it, like spiritual rain here on YouTube. She always says you got to feel it to
yeah,
heal it, right? And
yeah,
that's it. You got to
yeah,
feel it to heal it. And so
yeah.
whew, yes, for sure. And I was going to say something about something else about how we connected. It'll come back to me. You know us. But you were saying how like we were able to just talk and finish each other's sentences and things like that. And the thing
Mhm.
is, like we were never short of anything to say. We saw like 2 3 hour conversations. Like, and by the time we got out, we're exhausted because this isn't just like a, oh, what's your favorite color, where do you live? No, this is
Right.
like, let's just get into it. Like, let's just dive in head first of spirituality, where you've been, what you've been through, and everything else. And I love meeting people on their journeys, especially dare I say, like in a raw state. You know what I mean? Where you're just like you're coming out of it, and you're just like, okay, uh, I need to find someone that's going to understand my frequency. And this is a big topic that you and I and Lexi talk about a lot, right? Is different frequencies and what that means. And, you know, anytime that we talk about it, I always really want to state that when we say high vibe or, higher frequency, it is not about, oh, I'm up here and you're down here. No, 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 never, nothing like that. Because there's no such thing. Nobody's above anybody. But when it comes to frequency, it is a very real thing. We are all energetic beings, right?
That's
And
right.
so we all vibrate at a very, very specific vibration and frequency. And you can change that frequency within
That's
yourself depending on how you choose to walk your life. Now, having said that, I'm not going to, shy away from saying, look, some of us are just dealt some pretty shitty hands in life, whether that be just a generational thing or a cultural thing or because of race or because of economic there's a whole I'm not going to shy away from that. I mean, there are some very real things that people are dealt in life that they can't escape from in terms of that. But
true.
it has been proven that even somebody that is in the most deplorable conditions can still work on raising that vibration, raising that frequency, right? So it doesn't necessarily your vibration and frequency does not necessarily reflect your upbringing,
That's
your
right.
economic, your financial status, nothing like that, right? So I think if more people understand like what that really is, what that looks like, and how they can change it, I think that more people would be joining in the higher vibrations, right? So yeah.
Just to add on to what you said, because powerful, and I agree 100%, because I feel like I'm living proof of someone who had many, many adversities and obstacles, and had a reason to look at life from a picture of either woe is me, or I could be looking at life from a place of where, them and us. But
Right.
it gave I didn't. Not that I didn't always, because I think it's human nature to go into your sulky self for a minute and feel
That's
sorry
right.
for yourself. Now you know, and I know. How long do you stay there and does it feel good?
Oh,
I don't
until
even
you
like
get sick of it, like I said.
yes, I don't even like my own stink after a while. I'm like, oh, come on, I can pick myself up with this. Like, this is
Yes.
not. And so, no matter what the BS was, and I'm going to tell you something, I learned that from my family. And when I say that, we come through some stuff, but one of my biggest memories of coming through some horrific crap, seriously.
Mhm.
But I remember sitting on the bed with my older sisters and us all sitting around the bed and doing a therapy chat. And we
Mm.
didn't realize that it was a therapy chat at the time, but looking
Mhm.
for the higher level and the higher learning to whatever it was. And I think that is definitely what that story right there and that experience, it definitely helped me throughout my life. And I use that as an example of, what? Listen, as I said before in one of my videos, lemons and lemonades,
Mhm.
it all depends on how you're going to look at your shit. Because thoughts are powerful. How you choose
That's
to
right.
think about something will tell you whether you're going to elevate from it, or you're going to just stay in your own mess.
Yeah, that's
And
part of the frequency. Yes, that's
yeah,
right. You gotta clean up the stinking thinking, clean that up, you know what I mean? And, I mean, we're human beings, like, we're always gonna
that's
have
right.
that some of those shitty thoughts or whatever, that's okay. But it's recognizing them and, like, moving on from it and just like, "Okay, let's not just" you can have them, you can feel them, you can, work through them, but then don't live there, don't live in that space, Um, and, I'm going to circle back around to what we were talking about. Certain people, such as ourselves, were put on each other's paths like for a reason.
Mhm.
And the saying goes, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And
Right.
so, yeah, there's certain people that we're connected with to help us through very specific things in life.
Mhm.
Like there's a personal thing that I was recently going through, and I spoke to you and Lexi about it, and it was like, wow, okay, you both gave me some really solid advice that I was like, okay, and it's like you both gave me advice like from a lived experience though.
Mhm.
And there's not
Mhm.
that other advice isn't good, don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
when it comes from that, it's a certain medicine, right? It's like a balm for your soul, like, okay, yeah, I
Power in
get it.
your story. Power in your story. You
Yeah,
can tell your
exactly.
story, and that's what brings the power to your story, especially when you're able to share it with somebody else to help them, give them some light to get
Yeah,
through or receive things from a different
exactly.
perspective.
Yes. And, I will admit I don't always want to talk about what I'm going through. As a matter of fact, most times I don't, because I require a lot of time to sort of internal, like, process what the hell's going on. I like to journal. I read tarot for myself. Like, I'm not saying I don't need help from others, because clearly we do. I mean, that's what we're built for connection. Of course we do.
Yes.
But for me, I have to do a whole lot of internal work before I'm willing or able to even share,
Yes.
and ask for guidance and share my story. And so that's just how I operate, and I know some people might be like, "Oh, like what's wrong? Like is there something bothering you? We haven't seen you on YouTube in a while." That kind of thing. And I sincerely appreciate all of the concern and all of the support. I mean, when I tell you, like, I've been off my channel now since the end of March, and it was just, I had to take a step back. It was just, again, protecting my frequency. It was just too much. I needed to reel it back in and recalibrate, if you will. And I the amount of people that have reached out to me, I'm telling you, yes, fellow community members, fellow people with the channels, but also people who follow my channel that don't have a channel, that found a way to, just email me. And it's meant so much to me. Not that I'm not saying that I need that, but it was just like a real eye opener, like, wow, like, yeah,
That
actually people are
lets you
really,
know how much you are. Like
yeah.
presence, you listen, Virgo, Leo Virgo, because you are definitely Leo Virgo. You 'cause listen, you have a presence that is I'm gonna say it's not even so you are silent until you speak. And then when you speak, there's a delivery that you put the calmness in the room, but yep, you put the correction in the room real quick. And mad respect for that there just mad respect. But that's what you bring, and that's why I feel that people were reaching out to you.
Yeah, and it was just so nice because there was, like, true concern, like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything, everything's cool." It's just that, sometimes we need a little bit of a break, and I think this is, like, a whole maybe a whole 'nother topic, and I've been talking about this with a couple of different people that have channels out here. It's like, unless you have a YouTube channel, a lot of people don't actually understand what it means to make content. So many people are just consuming YouTube. So they just click it on, like, oh, is so and so on? Or I haven't seen her on lately. And that's cool. I mean, it's no different than turning on your TV, right? What's on? But, you know, I think what people forget is, like, we're actual human, like real human beings behind the camera with a whole life going on behind the scenes that we pretty much don't share. Some of us share bits and pieces, but I'll guarantee you won't hear 100% of what's going on behind the scenes, because that's not what most of the channels are about. Unless someone wants to bare their soul on their channel, then that's their prerogative. That's cool. But I'm more of a private person. I definitely will share my struggles, especially if it's going to help someone else, and I certainly have, and I'll continue to. But 100% of my life, no, that's not what I prefer to do on a public platform, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is that, just for anybody out there that is watching, that follows people on YouTube, just you know support them in any way you can. Like their videos, subscribe, comment. It takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to make a channel, to put yourself out here, to share your stories, to share our gifts. And just be patient with us if we don't post as often as you want us to, or things like that, right? Just just be mindful. Just be mindful that we're human beings too. We're just trying to feel our way out in the world, and we love to support you, the people who are watching and following us. Our community. We truly are grateful for you, but we would just ask that you're maybe a little bit more um, just mindful when you're consuming content. That's all. Yeah.
I want to go back to something that you said because, the fact that we are human and, it may be my mission to come and speak and it may be my mission to come and tell stories. But as I said many times, I am, what's odd about this? I'm very private. I am very, very private. And the very much the Leo side to me also needs to read because I'm Leo Cancer Leo. I need to take that time, withdraw,
Yes.
realign, and I just had that this past week. So kudos to you because that is an essential part, especially when doing the healing work, when in
Yeah.
doing spiritual work. You do readings, so you're taking on energy and
Yeah.
look, kudos to the person that wants to keep doing it and doing it, doing it. But you do hit a brick wall. You do
Hmm.
need to go, and I think authentically you withdraw. You don't allow your ego to step forward and feel like you have to produce.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I take my bow and I go into the back for a little bit, that means I'm realigning. And that
Yeah.
might mean just, what? Because I didn't do no posting other than, and I didn't even want to do this. I almost canceled. And then Spirit said, no, you're not. No, you're not. And then I
Oh.
did the post because you notice how I didn't post it until
Hmm.
like, but it's because I had been going through that where I was just taking my solitude and but when you
Yeah.
said the date, everything just flipped right and Spirit said, you ain't canceling this. What you're gonna do, what you're gonna post the info so that folk can come out and see what's happening here. And
I know where you live. I'm gonna drive out there and be like,
I know.
hey.
I would have been listen. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't
I
have
know, I'm
allowed you
just
to
kidding.
do that. I wouldn't have done it. But the fact
Mm.
that uh, the fact that I wanted to and I pushed myself forward and I made myself come out of that because I think it's
Hmm.
also as this channel grows and I connect with other people, you start to become a little bit more responsible. Well, you are responsible, first of all, right out the gate. And what do I mean? Or I feel I don't even want to use the word obligation. Um, um, in that commitment to come and deliver whatever piece of information,
Mm.
I cherish every single sub. Anyone that comes across my channel, I cherish that. So, in terms of, I just wouldn't want to. I don't take it lightly. And I know that the more bigger it comes, the bigger the responsibility, I guess, and the more aware you just. And I have to be. I'm not that I'm not mindful of the words that I speak because, as I said, I don't like to chew my cabbage twice. So usually, you know what, I'm very clear when I speak
Hmm.
something. But I
Yeah.
realize that in the words that I speak, I'm very conscientious on what it is that I speak. Not that I shouldn't have been, but I am more now because you're
Hmm.
responsible. You're speaking to a whole bunch of people and they're all at different levels and they're all in different places and they may not even be in the same space as you. And some of them might even be just meeting you for the first time, so they didn't get to see the other 4 or 5 videos. Or
Yeah.
are you getting my point?
Yeah,
Um,
it's true. But okay, so it's different like when we're sharing content. Like let's say like we pick a topic and we did the research and we're going to deliver it, or we
well,
come on here and we're going to do tarot readings. Okay. But in your case, like you are sharing your own personal stories.
well,
That's that's a lot. And the thing is like for some of us when we come on here, sometimes we're sharing it for the first time.
yes,
Right? And so with that comes emotion. right?
Yeah.
And it's just natural that sometimes there's anger and sometimes there's sadness and sometimes there's a mixture of both. One minute we're laughing, the next minute we're crying. Like that's just normal. And I think that honestly, as long as you or the person sharing the story is comfortable with that, with sharing real raw emotion, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I think it allows people to see the real, true, authentic rawness of what sharing your story looks like. I mean, for some of us, maybe
Which is
we've
what
shared it.
we're on for today.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah. And for some of us who have maybe shared it already, we're kind of like, okay, we've shared it before and we're just kind of talking about it. It's not that we're not as passionate about it anymore, but we've worked through it enough where we're like, okay, like one example and just trigger warning for suicide. My father, you know, took his own life when I was younger. And so, I can sit here and talk about that now and it does not affect me to the point where I'm gonna start breaking down crying. I have I mean, that was in 2001. That was all. That was actually the same year the Twin Towers went down. When I tell you
Wow.
that was a tower year, let me tell you,
Howard,
everything came crumbling down that year. I still lived in the States at the time. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is that I've not only just healed from that, I've grown from that. And in order for me to get through that, I really had to like dive in and get really messy with it and try to I got a piece of hair that stuck to my chapstick. And get really messy with it and figure out, okay, like why would somebody want to do this to themselves? And what does this mean? What does this look like? What was he going through? And all of these things, right? And when I dove into that topic, holy cow, it just burst me open and it made me so much more compassionate for other people who are going through it. Not only the people that are going through, but the family members who survived it and all of this stuff, right? So I
yes,
carry that with me, and I have, you know, yeah, I have had to um, utilize a few of those skills in my life with other people who are going through it as well. Right. So it's like you never know, right? Your own experiences of what you're going through, how that is actually going to help someone down the road. And that's exactly what you and I were talking about earlier about you never know who's going to be placed on your path and for what reason.
that's right.
Boom.
That's
That's
right.
just a small example, of course, but um yeah, so our stories matter and sharing them matters because you're
Yes,
able to help other people out here. Yeah.
yes, yes. I thank you for that because as I said, I'm always gonna keep it 100% authentic. I don't know how else to come, and
Yeah.
I never want to offend, and nor do I want to confuse ever. So
Right.
just know I'm 100% authentic each time, and
Yeah.
90% of the time I try and stay on my ego. So
Well, yeah, and sometimes that happens and we come from that place too or whatever, but here's the thing, like when people are subscribing to our channel, like they're subscribing to us because they somehow connect with us, in
right,
all of our ways and all, you know what I mean? Because some videos might be a little bit more energized than others and that's
right,
okay,
that's right.
you know? I would say like, if you can't accept me, at that level, then maybe this isn't the channel for you kind of thing. And that's okay. There's like millions of other channels to choose from. But, when you do connect with people who are sharing their truth, like for me, like that's the people that I want to connect with. Yeah.
Me too. Me-
Because we can all turn the camera on and put on a good show. And that's cool. Because after all, YouTube is part entertainment. That's fine. But I'm really here for the real and the raw. That's what I want to do. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. And I think that what I've said this to you before. TV is becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah.
We are going to be the a new kind of TV.
Hmm.
YouTube will be the new, or social, the whole social media thing. That that will be the new. That will be in our future. So I feel that we are in the part of the groundwork
Yeah.
of something that is going to be happening in the future. And as people tuned into Days of Our Lives, well, they're going to be tuning into Hilda and Angie, you
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
they want some
Exactly.
real. They want some terror or they want a story.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
why,
but
YouTube is so popular. I mean, not just YouTube. You've got TikTok, whatever your platform of choice is. The point is you have choice of what you want to consume, and I think that's very important, especially nowadays where everyone's got an opinion or this person believes that. Whatever your thing is, it's out here, and you can connect with people on that level. But and this is a conversation you and I have had as well, and I think it's so powerful. Is like we're going back to like our channels are our portals, in terms of our frequencies, what we're delivering. But also when you think about the actual word, I love words. Words to me are like, oh, like I love them so much. If you think about the word YouTube channel, well, what's a channel? Well, we are channels, like we're channeling sometimes, you know what I mean, in terms of that. And then also it goes back to what we were talking about, frequency. What do you do when you change channels? You tune in, right? Kind of like I do this like the old TVs. You all remember that, where you actually had to like turn the freaking dial. We didn't even have remotes. Yes, I am old enough to remember that.
thank you.
Because some people are like, you're too young to remember that.
Well,
Like,
he remembers.
I do.
So
Um, but that's again like tuning in to like what is it you want to tune into, right? So pick a channel, whatever, or even create your own channel and share, what you have to share. I think this day and age, we are so, so fortunate to have this ability. Are you kidding me? We could turn this camera on. You're in Nova Scotia. I'm in Ontario. We're talking to people from, let's see, North Carolina and Southern Ontario. Who else is here? Fatima. She's, in Ontario as well. And hello, by the way, to everybody in chat. We didn't mean to be rude and not
yeah,
say hello to people. It's just that we jumped right on into the conversation like we do.
we did, but you know what? We can take a minute and actually acknowledge the chat right now. And because you know what? I see some hearts going up there. I want to say hi, Lexi. Hey,
Lexi,
Susie, Real
Susie.
Forever, and Fatima. And
Yes.
we have
Fatima.
uh, 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 Sabrina.
Hey,
So,
Sabrina.
you know, this is a beautiful day. I was going to ask the question. One of my questions was, who is Roots and Waves? And
Mhm.
just in your sharing, we're seeing a whole lot of who Roots and Waves is. Which the name, I got to
Hey,
tell you that.
Selena.
Hello, Selena. That whole Roots and Wave, just the name, because you were talking about the power of words. That's another thing that
Yes.
you came across my feed or
Mhm.
in my comment section. It was the name, and it does embody you. You are rooted in something deeper,
Mhm.
and yet you know what? You can flow. You flow with the current. So powerful,
Yeah.
powerful name.
Thank you. Yeah, so I changed the name of my channel. When I originally started my channel, think it's been like 4.5 years ago now or something like that. I originally started with the name of Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. So, for those that don't know who I am a layered reader. So I read with charms and tarot and oracle. So this is my bowl of charms. Okay, so when I do readings, this is where like the tiny trinket thing came into play. And then I pair them with the oracle and the tarot. So I wanted like a fun name to come out here with, but there was so much like conversation taking place, people doing these things called VRs, video responses. I wanted to be a part of all of that. So I was like, well, I'll create a channel and do it because for years I was the one just watching the content. And then I'm like, I want to get my voice out there. And if you go back on my channel, you watch my very, very first video, I still have that same essence of I believe how I worded it was when you click on my channel, I want you to feel like you're sitting across from me and we're having coffee and it's a place where you can fill your cup and rest your bones and, connect in that way. I mean, yes, I connect with a lot of people over tarot decks and oracle decks, but I found that that was like a gateway to so much more. It wasn't just like surface level of decks. No, 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 because really after all, what is tarot? Tarot is life. I mean, so it led me down these roads of spirituality and connectedness and interconnectedness, of course. Um, and after a while, I thought, you know what? I don't just want to show card decks. I want to have some deeper conversations. I need this to go a little bit deeper. And so I was like, well, what could I call myself? And my husband and I, we sat and we were going on about all these names. And hey, Alana, hi, welcome in,
High essence of the moon.
Selena. And we were going back and forth, and I was like, okay, it's got to be something that like um really talks about like who I am as an individual and what I want to deliver, right? And so the roots, like you just said, deeply rooted in what? Well, you got to know who you are. You said at the very beginning, I know who I am, and I absolutely know who I am. And so
Mhm.
rooted in that, but also being strong enough rooted that you can like hold space and stand firm for other people because that's what I do as well. You know what I mean? So that's rooted in that. And I love that word because you could take it in so many different directions. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, if you think about a tree in a storm, the more wind, right, that comes, the stronger that tree becomes because the deeper the roots go. And I believe, as a metaphor in life for us too, the more we go through in life, the deeper our roots are. But
Absolutely.
but it does take support of other people to help you sort of, you know,
Never.
to navigate that and to maybe stay upright in that storm too. Yes, your roots can be deep, but you got to have somebody support you as well, right? So there's that. And then in terms of the waves as well, it's like, well, quite as it sounds, like the waves of life. Shit, sometimes they take you out and sometimes they just carry you. You know what I mean? And you have to be able to have that flow, I think, in life as well to know when to go deeper, to be rooted, and to just let it flow. So it goes a little bit deeper than that, just for me personally, in terms of the mycelium network. For those who don't know what that is, um, our fungi in our forests and on the forest
Mhm.
floor, they have these little networks underground, and they
Mhm.
all talk to each other. So if you can picture underground, and it's almost like a mesh, like this, like all this intertwined network underground, and what they do is they take nutrients, right? And they can send nutrients through this network underground to
Mhm.
any plant life underground that needs it. So, like if a tree down the way they know is needs some repair because something is trying to attack it, this mycelium network can pull from nutrients from another tree and send it down the line and
Uh,
heal essentially that tree. And so that's what I want to be. I want to be that person that can you, and it's so funny because you always call me the connector. I'm like, yes, that's what I feel like, connecting people to other people because we are together, that mycelium network underground coming together to feed one another, to help one another. Yeah. So
and I just want to say healer. Because
yes.
what folks don't realize, this is another commonality that you and I had, which was blowing me away, is we were both in the medical field. We both, you was a nurse, I was a
Yes.
CPA. And
Yes.
I'll tell you, you're dealing with people and sharing those that it's the way you cared for your people, the way
Yes.
you were a voice for your people. Anyway,
Yes.
if you want to share something about that, I just had to interject that because I'm
Yeah.
thinking, wow, that's another dynamic which I think comes out in your tarot too, as well.
Mm. Yeah, for sure, and definitely, I am. You are as well. You're a natural healer. I'm a natural healer. I just want to say hi to Karen. Karen came in. Hello, hi
Hi,
Karen.
Karen.
Hey, hey, girl. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Welcome, welcome.
So yes, I have always known, and Hilda has, oh, trust me, we've had lots of conversation around this topic because I've shared her story, or excuse me, my story with her about how I thought at one time being a healer meant I'm going to go get my nursing degree. I thought that's what that meant. I'm like, okay, healer, I guess I'll go. I'm like, I'm sure not going to become a doctor. I don't want to devote that much time to it, but I'll become a nurse. Well, yeah. Let's just say that's academically, I could have had it yesterday. You know what I mean? I had straight A's. I only have one more year of university. I was killing it. As a matter of fact, when I dropped out of the nursing program, I literally had professors calling me, which never
Mhm.
happens. And they were like, "What's happening? What's happening? What can I do to help you? We need you out here in the field. Like, what went wrong?" And, for anybody that knows my story, knows that I refused to have the COVID-19 vaccine and they essentially blocked me from my studies. So that was a very sad, tragic moment for me because I devoted my life to becoming a nurse. I've worked in the medical field my whole life. I worked as an aide, like you said. I worked in dietary, various different roles in my life. I've worked in group homes and nursing homes and hospice and hospitals, you name it, right? And so
Yeah.
I just thought that the nurse was like a natural progression because everybody's like, why don't you just do it? Because like you're doing the work anyways. You're going to get paid a whole lot more, and you can advance your skills. And so yeah, then COVID hit, and that was, wow. I mean, let's just face it, that changed a lot of people's lives
That's
in so
what
many
it
different ways, and
is.
I definitely don't wanna discuss, that here because I completely 1,000% respect everybody's decision on their own autonomy, their own body, what's good for them. I'm just
Like,
sharing my
Spirit had
story.
another plan. Spirit
Mhm.
had another plan for you, baby girl. Because
Yeah.
if you're a nurse and you was working on some floor, I don't know if we would have met like this. Because you'd have been too busy working overtime. And guess
Yes.
what? I don't attend the hospitals much lately anymore. So
Right. It's true. I wouldn't have met a lot of the connections. You're right. And actually, my husband and I, we talk about this quite often. It's like him and I wouldn't be as close either because, like, I wouldn't be here. I'd be working 12, sometimes 20-hour shifts, depending on whatever. And let's face it, I'm just going to speak for Canada, even though I'm originally from the US. Anybody watching that doesn't know, I'm originally from Wisconsin. So I am a US girl by birth. But I've been here in Canada for 22 years now, so I'm pretty much Canadian. Um, but what was I gonna say? Oh my god.
well, we like your Milwaukee flavor. I gotta
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
my Milwaukee sister that's from another mother. Okay, we'll leave it
Yes,
there.
yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, so what I was saying, sorry, I lost my train of thought there because I was thinking about something else. Is that, had I gone down that route, like I would not have not been as close to my kids or my husband or anything else because I would have been, like you said, like working all them hours and doing all that. And this is exactly where I went off track is that our healthcare system, oh,
Mhm.
Lord have mercy, don't even get me started. It
Yeah.
is in a sad state. It's in a very, very, very sad state. And I definitely can talk about both sides of the border because, like I said, I'm from the US and Canada. And I I honestly thought, being a nurse, I could help. I could be a part of making it better. And the
Mhm.
and the answer to that is no, you can't. I'm sorry, but it is way too big of a thing that if don't get me wrong, you can make a difference individually in individual people's lives, 100%. But if you think you're going to go in there and start changing legislation, no. I'm sorry, but it's too corrupt. It's not going to happen.
We are going to be a part of the rebuild. We're starting that right now because a part of that whole is healing. There's a whole lot of people out there that need a healing or
Yes.
are going through a healing, and they need that someone to help them navigate through that healing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So there will be a whole arena out there, baby girl. Trust and believe
Mhm.
me. And a
Mhm.
whole form of a whole different this whole westernized medicine. Get
Yeah.
ready for something. We going back to the way, we're going back to the earth. That's
Yeah.
where we really going. All of
Yeah.
this pharmaceutical and that. So don't worry. There's a place, and you're going to be nursing. And I can see that you know what you're going to be. Listen, you're a leader. Trust me. You're going to be doing what
She
you
gets
need to
fired up on this subject, y'all. I told you we talked about this.
do.
And I definitely know, like, and I've always been told by people who've read my charts and the cards and my palms and everything else that like I am a healer. And I'm like, okay. And so, as you navigate life, you're like, well, what does that fucking mean? Like, you know what I mean? How can I help in this way? And as you get older and as you sort of zoom out and look around, you're like, oh, okay, well, actually, you've been doing it your whole life, girl. It's just that, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to look like a degree on the wall. Nothing like that. It's just reframing it and looking at it in a different way. And Hilda is one of the people that has really helped open my eyes to like what that could mean, what that could look like. It's like, girl, like, don't you see? Like, you've got the power.
You
Dun, dun.
do got the power. Yes, you do
Yeah.
the power. Yes, you
Yeah.
do.
Oh, Fatima, I agree with Ange. I have a cousin that is a nurse. She can't work in the hospital. It's very stressful. Oh,
Yeah.
and that's another thing, Fatima. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, the stress alone of those environments. I mean, you can't even be your true, like, how I am right now. I'm like my true, authentic, like shining bright self. Nah, nah, nah. Those places there, they'll dim your light for you because,
Big time.
well, let's see, you're not getting the proper sleep, you're probably not getting the proper nutrients or exercise, and you're just running ragged, and you're in charge of way too many patients at one time, which is that's a whole nother topic. Um and so, yeah, I now can see that I
Yeah.
was saved, actually.
Yeah.
Even though I still have a whole lot of student debt to pay off and no career to show for it, that's okay. I've learned to accept that, because for me, that's a small price to pay compared to what could have been. I also personally know some women that I've even went to school with that are no longer with us, and I'll just keep it
Yeah.
like that. Um, it's a very stressful environment. Yeah. And so I'm just very fortunate. And please, like, if you're watching and you are a doctor or nurse, I give you the most respect for the work you do. I've walked beside you. I commend you. I do, but I personally, I think I'm too much of an empath, to be able to take that on.
I
You
was
know.
thinking, I am glad that I am meeting you like this because there was a time in my life I could have been meeting you at the bed. You would have been my nurse that was at my bedside. Now you would have been a beautiful nurse. I would have loved you to death, and I would have been probably waiting for you to come. You know what? Waiting for you to your shift. To come
Yeah.
on. My whole point being is, I'm glad it's on this side of things, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you know what. Spirit has chosen to direct you here because, girl, like I said, you have no idea, and that debt, you ain't gonna worry about that debt because Spirit's taking care of that because you answered the call. You
Mhm.
answered the call.
It's true. Yeah, and I even try to, because I'm all about for like justice too. I wrote the letter, I had the receipts, I tried to fight for what was right. I'm like, because what had happened was all of the money that the Canadian government had given me as grants, they turned it into loans because they told me that
Mm,
I quit school, but I didn't quit school. I wanted to keep going. They wouldn't
that's,
let me. So
that's
I
right.
fought it. I fought it. And a lot of people told me I should have took it higher in terms of hiring a lawyer, but listen, oh, then that becomes like an energy that you want to play the game. Now you got to pay the lawyer and you got to be all up in that. And I'm like, listen, how about I just move on? You know, but I wasn't going to go down without a fight. And
And
I definitely tried. But you call OHIP and they're like, no, you got to call the National Student Association. You call them, they're like, nope, you got to call that. It's like, they just told me to call you. You're telling me to call them. Nobody wants to take accountability for this and responsibility for this. So it was like, okay, so yeah, here we are today. But again, I'm grateful that I'm on this side, like you said.
yeah, I am too. We are 53 minutes in. So, you know what? I know that some people wanted to get a reading, and you did say that my girl came, she said, listen, I'm good for whatever. So, I don't want to keep you too long because I do know that this is your Friday and it's also other people's Friday. So, I know that my sister Susie said that she wanted to rap, a rap.
You want to rap, girl? We can rap.
She did a reading. So if there's anyone else in the chat that would like a reading, let us know and or no, don't let me know. We're gonna let Ange know. But if you want, do you want to start the readings right now?
Sure.
And you want
Yeah.
Susie, we'll start with Susie's reading. And Susie, what kind of a reading did you want? A general reading or a love reading or what? A futuristic reading? What do you want, dear?
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah,
Action. the moon wants she would like a reading too. Essence, I'm gonna write this down because you're normally the girl that does this. And
I'm old school. I got pen and paper. We're good. I got you.
I love her. I love her. Oh, do you see
Susie,
why I love my girl? Mm.
Susie, and Selena, and I think Alana, right? Alana. Um, a general. Okay. All right. Susie wants a general. So what that means for me, how I read is that I'll just tap into your spiritual team if you're okay with that, Susie, and then I will see what comes up. Selena, I love you too. And so for Selena and Alana, I believe you both
I
said you were
love
reading. Just go ahead and type
you.
your question into chat, just so that when I get to you, I know what you want me to focus on. And if there's anybody else in chat that wants a reading, or maybe even Miss Hilda, if you want one, I won't put you on the spot. I can always give you one behind the scenes, but if you want, I can give you one too.
You know
So
what? Listen. I'll take a reading, but I'll let you do everybody else first. And if you don't get to mine, I won't mind it because I've got access to you in ways that other people don't. So I'm going to use that card.
yeah, yes. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so Susie, we are going to start that. And for anybody that's here that maybe doesn't know, Susie is actually Hilda's sister.
That is my sister Susie. So when I told you the story about
Hey.
us being up on the bed, that girl was older than me. She can definitely tell you there was a good many times that we had a lot of my stories that I share. Susie's a part of those stories. And well, I'm going to actually have Real Freedom Forever on here because we got
Yes,
we got something in the mix. But anyways, it's coming. But most of these stories, all of these stories, involve Susie too as well.
I love that. I love that. I'm looking forward to seeing you two on together. And I know that this is just going to be the first of many lives, like you said on here. I'm sure you're going to have Lexi on, and maybe
Yeah,
Selena and
yeah.
Alana and whoever else.
We got plans in the mix, and I in spiritual herb in nature. Sabrina, we've got some.
Oh,
So there are some in Atlanta. So we do have some things in the mix here, and Lexi. Yes, 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 yes.
that's so cool. Yes, I love all of these people here in the community. So excited. Okay. So I'll be doing readings tonight. I'm being called to use my Oracle of Oneness and my Tarot of Oneness. So um, I love these decks because they are very much like a first person. It makes you feel like you're in the card. And let's see. Susie. People think she's my mother because she's so
My mother
bossy.
is so bossy. Look, listen, I'll tell you all a
It's
story
that
about
Leo fire.
it is. It is. We would this one story. We're at church. Now, church, and I'm not gonna lie, we was there seeing a couple of men. I should have just left it right there. But my whole point being is this that this fellow that was behind us at the end of the service says it's nice to see you and your mother. Looks at me like I was Susie's mother.
Oh.
And I said, well, I was not happy, but I'm thinking, mother, and I had on my Sunday best too. Old spirit, right?
Oh
Boss,
my
boss
goodness.
yoga, that's the real. That's right. That's
This
the
is
real. That's right, Lexi. Going to church to get men. That does not sound right, does it? But most people do, don't they? Finding men, what do they find? Just another sinner.
Oh, okay. Wow. So far, Susie, you've got two major arcana. So I'm not sure, Susie, if you're familiar with the tarot, but in the tarot, it's broken up with 22 major arcana, and the rest of the 78 cards is minor arcana. And so major arcana are like big events, big things that are happening in your life, right? And so there's two of those already here. I do 3 tarot, 1 oracle, and a few charms. So let's see over here. Susie. Oh, okay. And gotta have a charm to go with it. See what we get. Oh, all right. Well, Susie, are you going through some healing? Let's see. Let's see what we got here. We've got the hmm. It seems to me that you are hmm. That you've been going deep into things lately. That you're not okay, so the first one is the moon, right? And the moon can talk about that shadowy side. Sometimes it's that stuff that we push down that we don't want to sort of acknowledge. Um, the moon is all about illuminating everything in our lives, right? The moon is all also about our intuition and reminding us to tap more into that. But I'm really picking up for you in this reading though about the moon is like sometimes the moon can really expose some shadowy stuff, some stuff that's like way down, like lurking. Actually, you don't see it here in this one because this isn't the typical moon card, but in the RWS, which I don't have near me, you see like this crustacean like coming out of the water, and you have a like a wolf kind of looking dog on one side and a pet dog on the other. That's called like our wild side and our domesticated side. And then what's coming up from the depths is like what's down there that we're like not willing to look at. But now we kind of have to because the moon is illuminating that for us. So there's something about that with you. And then we have the magician. Now, this is one of my favorite cards because the magician is all about you focusing on um, really using all the tools at your disposal. So in the traditional magician tarot card, he has all of the tools at his disposal. So the swords, the wands, the cups, and the pentacles, meaning you have everything that you now need. And oftentimes that is what happens when we decide, okay, you know what, I need to deal with this in life, and you deal with it. And then you recognize that you come more into your power, which is this magician, right? So when you sort of take your power back and recognize, hey, I have what it takes to overcome this. Not only that, but the magician is all about manifestation and creating the life you want and the reality that you want. Okay. And then through that, we have the Eight of Pentacles. And you can see here that somebody's getting maybe like a service dog, tattooed onto them. But really, and this is a tattoo artist at work. Eight of Pentacles is about focusing on your work, focusing on your craft, and really honing your gifts in whatever capacity that looks like. So, actually, if you look at all three cards together, that's so beautiful because in order for you to get to this point of being able to focus on your work and hone your craft and whatever that may be. It could be physical work, it could be spiritual, doesn't matter, right? But in order to get to that level, you have to go through this. You gotta, go through the shadowy sides, the murky stuff to get to the magician card where you know you got the power to change your life. And then now you have that stability to keep working. Now, the oracle card that I have with this is number 42. You are not alone. So I don't know if this scenery maybe is familiar to you or not, but it's just a reminder that, as you're going through this really tough stuff in life, and this is back to what Hilda and I were talking about earlier, the right people are always put on your path, or I'm just hearing the right people resurface. Whatever that means, the right people resurface, come back into your life to remind you that you're not alone. Okay. Um, Now, having said that, and this ties in nicely to what Hilda and I were talking about before too, sometimes there are parts of our journey where we're meant to walk it alone. Okay. But in this particular reading, what I'm getting for you is now's not the time for you to walk it alone. Now to be reminded that you're not alone. Not only do you have people physically in your life, but you have spiritually, you have ancestors and things that are walking with you as well. We have this little dice that I rolled, and look at this little sad face. So that tells me that kind of landed by the moon card. So there is some emotion, some deep stuff that you have been dealing with and working through. And then this little don't be creeped out. It's a little eyeball. But this this eyeball is all about like your third eye, opening yourself up more to being aware, that intuition, which also goes back to that moon card as well. And then we have this little pair of boots. And this little pair of boots fell right here with "You Are Not Alone." So that tells you again that there's somebody that wants to walk with you on this journey, whether it be in the physical world or the spiritual world, that you are not alone. So whatever this is, Susie, it's very comforting. It's a kind of like a feeling. The, they want you to know to keep going with it. Don't stop here. Just keep going with the healing path that you're on. So I hope that resonates with you. If you have any questions, just let me know. You go to the water to heal. Yes, I do too. I love going to the water to heal. Yes, that's yeah. And that fogginess too is kind of like that feeling I was getting from the moon card too, right? How sometimes we just have to clear away the fog in order to see things clearer, so that way we can, take our power back and get to this point where we can continue to work on ourselves and the work that we're put here to do. Okay. Wow, that was good.
That was a nice read.
Oh, Susie.
And Selena, yes, we will definitely work together. I'm looking forward to that, in fact. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm just gonna shuffle these up and I'm gonna read for Selena next. Now, did Alana type in what she wanted? Okay.
Lana wanted a path reading for me.
Okay. So like where you're heading on your path? Yep.
Right.
Okay. All right. No problem. So I'm just gonna shuffle these a little bit and catch up on chat. Thank you all for being here. Foggy. Yeah, sometimes it is just foggy, right? And I live on the lake, or I live on the bay, which is connected to the lake. And wow, when we get fog here, it's so magical. I mean, I don't like driving in the fog, but to be out in it is so mystical, magical.
Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes the actual fogginess of the mind, right? Yeah. And yeah, I know how that can be too if you're going through a lot, right? Okay.
Being in Nova Scotia, I have access to so many different water spots, and I
Hmm.
can walk to some of them. So that's really like you're running brooks and little rivers. Beautiful.
Okay. Let's go here. Dun, dun, dun. I like to pull the people's channel up so I can look at their picture
Yeah.
while I tap into their energy. So, okay, so we're reading for Selena, Essence of the Moon, and she wants a Spirit Allies message. So, um, for those of you who aren't familiar with Selena, she has a very powerful Spirit Allies team, ancestors. I mean, we all do, okay, but I'm saying like she really works very closely with her spirit guides and her ancestors. And so
Yeah.
oftentimes I've had the honor and privilege of reading for her a couple of different times, and they come out strong. They have they got stuff to say. So I'm always happy to read for Selena. Uh, okay, Selena, what are your spirit allies? Oh,
I feel like I should be supporting you back here. Maybe
you're
I should
fine.
be checking the chat. Well, I'll keep checking the chat. Don't put me in the passenger seat because I like being in the passenger seat. I'll take my own show. Seriously. Just keep letting the good times roll. She did make
Okay.
it's much.
Hmm. Let's pull an oracle card here. So again, Celine, I'm using the Oracle and the Tarot of Oneness. In this tarot deck, there are a few extra cards, and you got one of them. So I'll share that with you in just a moment here. Um, Okay, Selena.
3 degrees was saying, yes, that is exactly why I committed myself to this work. It isn't easy, but someone has to get it done. That's true. That's so true. No, not easy, but it's well worth the ride, especially once you make it through the up or the down. Higher level of
Okay.
understanding.
All right. Hmm. Okay. So, Selena, wow. Okay. So, first of all, we start off with the extra card in the deck. It's called Oneness. And this is such a beautiful card because, as you can see, like all these lights sort of merging together. Um, and very much, I don't have to tell you this. I think I tell you it every time anyway, but your ancestors and spirit team are so close to you. And but specifically though, with this oneness card that's coming out, they're wanting to remind you of how interconnected everything is and everyone is here in this time, space, and dimension. I mean, uh, certainly we can talk multiverse, which I also believe in terms of oneness and interconnectedness. Okay, but right now this is kind of like an earthly reading for you, right? Of your like what's going on right here. Um, so oneness is to remind you that you definitely have access to that web of life and how we're all interconnected. And I just heard don't okay, your efforts to bring people together are not going unnoticed. Okay. So, yes, you definitely are. That's right. You are connecting people together. You actually mentioned it, I believe, in a live, maybe even last night, about bringing people together, not only in this community, but I feel like you're making these connections in spiritual world as well. Okay,
Hmm.
so there's that. Now, having said that, though, we're going to move into a little bit different energy. Okay, and the oneness energy is supposed to carry into this so that you can understand. So this is the Four of Pentacles. Now, okay, so the Four of Pentacles can be about. It can have a lot of different meanings to it. It can mean like greed and things like that. But I don't get that in this reading. What I'm getting this is your desire for long-term security. Okay, so Four of Pentacles can mean like really watching what we expend our energy on. And remember, money is energy, our own physical energy, right? So it's really asking you to be mindful that you can still be tapped in, right? Or into this web and do all the things, but be mindful in terms of where you expend your energy and how much. So that again, time, money, things like that, anything that you consider energy. Okay, so it's asking you just to check in with that, right? Um, and then we end with the Seven of Swords. Okay, again, this is another card. So Four of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords for me can always kind of have that meh kind of energy, but it's not bad. It's just things that we have to sort of focus on, like look at, right? Sometimes it's uncomfortable. But the Seven of Swords specifically can be about um we can talk about like betrayal and things like that, but I'm not getting that from this. I'm getting take what you need. Take what you need. So in the typical Seven of Pentacles in the RWS, we see this sketchy looking dude, and he's like stealing these swords like out of this, I don't know, circus tent, like running away with them like some sketch bag. But but the Seven of Swords, I have come to learn that it can also mean that it's not always about theft and betrayal. Sometimes in these situations like this, it's like it's okay to take what you need. It's okay to take what you need. I don't mean take as in steal. I just mean like um in different situations or whatever, you know what I mean, like it kind of ties back into with this Four of Pentacles. It's like take what you need with this Four of Swords, but with the Four of Pentacles, don't sell yourself short. Don't expend your energy and your time on one thing or one person or one area of life, right? Try to conserve that. And that it yeah, that it's okay to take what you need and to leave what you don't need behind, right? So that's that. And then we move into this oracle card of number 26. Gratitude opens your heart to love and abundance. So I know that you absolutely do gratitude work, and I know that you're grateful for everything. But an attitude of gratitude, like Lexi always says, an attitude of gratitude really does help in terms of raising the vibration and really connecting with that oneness energy. Um, being grateful for what we have instead of wanting more. That could be that Four of Pentacles energy for sure. And again, only taking what you need, right? Don't take too much or whatever. And that can lead back into that Seven of Swords. So we also have something called vitamin C, and it's literally like CSEA. So again, this is tying back to that water. So, do you connect with the water? Do you find it healing? If so, then maybe you're being called to that. If you live near a body of water, and if you don't, certainly you have a bathtub or a shower, you can connect with the water in that way. We also have one of my little worry dolls. These do not pop out very often because you can see how small they are. I don't know if you know what a worry doll is, but I think these ones here were made in Guatemala. And so the story of the worry dolls is that you're supposed to tell these little dolls all your worries, right? And you're supposed to put them in this little box, and they're supposed to take all your worries and, you know, and vanish them for you. So if there is anything that you are worried about, maybe you have a little worry doll yourself, or that you have a little trinket or something that you can make into a worry doll, so that way you can release any worries that you may have. Don't let them hold you down. Remember, like the Seven of Swords, don't let that energy hold you down. We also have this is like the Book of Shadows, or like a so I'm not sure if you have one of these. I'm sure you do, because you have many beautiful like witchy kind of things. But that also could be inviting you to write things down more. Okay. And just one more. It says, reminder, you matter, you are loved. It's okay to not be okay, and you got this. Okay. And that is a reminder that not everything has to be rainbows and butterflies. You know what I mean? That as we work through our stuff, there are going to be some hard days. Um, and again, that especially as we work through that, just be mindful again with that Four of Pentacles of where you're expending your time, money, and energy. And just know that, with this beautiful gratitude energy and this oneness energy, right? That's really what spirit wants you to focus on, while also not avoiding these kind of more shadowy cards, I would call them as well, right? So that is what I have for you, Selena. Um,
Another good read.
yes, that was really good. Um, oh, you're working on more shadow over the weekend. Yes, shadow work is so important, so important. And for anybody that's watching that doesn't know what shadow work is, it's basically just sitting with the uncomfortable parts of ourselves or our stories. And sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes it's just stuff that's trapped, like in our cells and our DNA and things like that. And so, we all process it differently. Like I was saying, journaling is one of the forms that people would just take a pen and just start writing to get things up and out. We all have different ways of doing it. So if you just Google shadow work, you'll find a plethora of ways that you can do it that works for you. Um, gratitude energy, yes, yes, for sure. Okay, so Miss Alana would like a reading, a path, where you're heading on your path. That's exciting. Let's see here. Susie, Selena, Alana. Just gonna shuffle these up. How are you making out, Hilda? Are you okay?
I was just sitting here and thinking about that shadow work. I find that with these planets being in the position that they are, and the different ones that are being highlighted at this particular time, it is dragging up different things that we need to deal with, because
Yeah.
it's getting us ready for our next level.
Yeah.
So I think that everything that has not been really dealt with, that's some of the stuff I found about this week. Anyways, there were
Yeah.
certain things that have come up that I had to set in. You have to set into it. You have to process it, and before you can release it and let it go.
That's true, and that ties nicely into Susie's reading with that moon card, and that that it's very much that energy. Yeah,
Mhm.
of having to address this stuff. Karen said, "Oh, Karen's our astrologer. For anybody that doesn't know, Care Bear Barter cards. subscribe to her because she knows her stuff. I mean, she's more than just an astrologer. She's a beautiful reader and a beautiful soul, a beautiful friend. Saturn retrograde begins June 1st. Ooh, those cards were
Yeah.
Aquarius and Capricorn, both ruled by Saturn in classical astrology. Ooh, okay. That is interesting. And that's why you have friends like this that know that stuff because there's no way
Yes,
I'd be able to keep all that up here. So thank you, Karen. You always come through for us with the astrological
yes.
energies.
Thank you, Karen. And thank
Okay.
everyone for coming up, and especially when you ask for a reading. It just helps to make this live go. You're all awesome. I just want to say that. First of all, for showing up, taking the time, because I know all of you have a life. And the fact that you're taking your early Friday evening to spend it with us, you are
Mhm.
appreciated.
Okay, so we're gonna do this. So I just ding the bell just to clear the energies between my readings. That's like
Mhm.
sort of my thing. We all have our own thing. Okay, and then 3 degrees of love. I'm gonna pull up your channel so I can stare at your picture, girl. Okay, there we go. There is Alana. Okay, so Alana, a path reading. Okay. Mhm. Okay, let's do this. Mhm. Okay. Interesting. Alana. All right. Okay. So for a path reading, Alana, I sort of wanted to focus on like past, present, future. It just kind of makes sense with a path, right? Like sort of where are you coming from? Where are you now? And maybe where you're heading. And remember, with the tarot reading, this is picking up on the current energies, right? Like of certainly of what has just happened, what is currently happening, and what's about to happen. Um, so just keep that in mind. Energies can change, but we're going to tap in right now. Okay, so we start off with the 9 of Wands. Okay, so the 9 of Wands, again, for me, is like a little bit of a heavier card, but it's a good one because this is about keeping and maintaining your boundaries. Okay. Um, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so there's that. So that tells me that you have been working on that in the recent past in terms of working on boundaries, but the current energy is this, and it's the 8 of Swords. Okay. So the 8 of Swords is all of that self-imposed restrictions. It's self-sabotage. It's holding ourselves back. It's, excuse me, all the things that we tell ourselves. Because remember, swords is all about the mind, right? And how our mind can do that to us. It can literally imprison us. I'm sorry, I just have to have a drink of water. S- Um, okay. So first, I want to tell you I completely understand this 8 of Swords. I am terrible for this because we are our own worst enemies sometimes, right? In terms of the things that we tell ourselves, the whole imposter syndrome or the whole um, whatever crap that we want to make up in our heads that really is not true and it really does hold us back. you know. Hello, are you still with us? Oh, you're frozen. Your picture's frozen, but that's okay. Um, yeah, I was like, that's an intense look, girl. Like, what? You're fine. You're good. You're good. But so, so the 8 of swords. So yeah, definitely something that you've been, just holding yourself back on, girl. Like and you're not alone. You're not alone in that feeling. Now, we move into the so if we continue this trajectory with this energy, we go into the 7 of wands. Okay, so remember we started off with the 9 of wands and now we're the 7 of wands. So we got a lot of fire and we got the swords in between. Now, okay, so the 7 of Wands. Well, you know, 7 of Wands is all about your like being defensive. It can be about competition, of course. But more importantly, I feel like it's like protection, right? And it kind of I really love that these are like sort of the bookends, right? Because you have that 9 of wands and you have the 7 of wands. It's like, wow. Um the keeping and the maintaining the boundaries, right? Where this one is about the protection. So I feel like that is balanced or is balancing out in your life, but it's what is it in the middle? What is it, this current energy that's holding you back? You know what I mean? Like, and only you would, of course, know the answer to that. The oracle card that we have for you is savor each moment, the number 5, right? And sometimes, really, what that can mean is just being present, being in the present moment. And sometimes being in the present moment can help us out of this 8 of Swords moment, right? One moment at a time. I know some people say one day at a time. I like to say 1 minute at a time because you never
One,
know. One
that's right.
frickin' minute at a time. Some days you just have to, right? So there's that. Now, some of the charms that I got, um, I have this little fish in a bag. And when I get this, it's always like, um, feelings of that you're well, quite frankly, you're not where you're supposed to be. You're not in the place you're supposed to be. Fish don't live in plastic bags. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there's that. It could also mean that you're being transported spiritually or physically somewhere
Mhm.
else, because as you know, when you win a goldfish at the fair, you take him home and he's your pet and you put him in a nice environment and whatever. So it could have either way, but the feelings that I'm really feeling is like isolation, maybe feeling like left out, maybe feeling like I don't know. Like I just keep hearing like you feel like you don't belong because you don't belong in like fish don't belong in a bag. So I just keep hearing that you in there. But I get that feeling really deep because we also have this heart, and this heart's like all sealed up tightly in this. And that's not where our heart's supposed to be either, right? So it's really closed off, right? And so is this. And so, like, what is it that's disconnecting you from yourself, really, right? With that 8 of Swords. And in doing so, are you disconnecting, yourself from others as well? And then I have another charm, and I'm sorry this is so heavy, but I'm just reading what it says. But this charm says dead inside, right? So it's like, um, you know, when sometimes when we spiral down that 8 of Swords rabbit hole, sometimes that can make us feel dead inside, right? Because like it doesn't feel good when we're self-sabotaging and things like that. So the takeaway though is that trying to stay present in the present moment, right, could potentially help you through this, navigate this. Definitely continue to work on maintaining your boundaries like you have been, because that shows that you have been doing that work. And then, yeah, in terms of the 7 of Wands, because this is like coming up in the future, though, it's almost like a warning a little bit, right? To just stay protected. Um, just be defensive be protective of your energy. That's what I'm hearing. Be protective of your energy. So just watch out for that in the future. So that is what I have for you, Atlanta. I don't know if that resonates, but I hope it does.
And
Mm.
Atlanta, we love you. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I'm not assuming. At times, we all feel like we don't fit in, especially as we're trying to find ourselves. That is the journey. And you know what? We're not meant to fit in everywhere. Simple as that.
Oh yeah,
I
for sure.
fit in
For
as
sure.
well.
For sure. Yeah. Oh. Um, oh, Selena. Oh, that's right. I sent Selena some charms, and I think I did give her one of the fish in the bag. Yeah, it's a good charm. It's and you know what? It's come up. It has had different meanings depending on how I'm feeling, like when it comes up. So that's really cool.
It's
Yeah, Hilda, you were freezing a little bit. You're okay now, though. It's good. Um, all right. So what time do we got? It's 5:30. It's not that well. It's 6:30. Where you are you okay? Are you doing okay?
I'm doing okay.
All right, good. Was there anybody else in the chat that wanted a reading? I know Hilda is getting a reading tonight, so we definitely.
I will definitely take a reading, and I don't. Let me just go because I was looking down through the chat, and I know that we did Ange, we did Susie, we did Alana, we just did
Uh,
Alana, we did Essence.
yeah,
Uh,
that was the three. Yeah, yeah.
they are all in bed together. I don't know who's in bed together because I'm going back through these comments, and I think they were parts of conversation before. They were
Oh,
part of the conversation. So there was comments made. Um, every now and again.
okay. So, all right, Hilda, is there a certain area of life you want to focus on, or do you have a specific
You know
question?
what? I will go with the same type of
Okay, that sounds good.
going down because I feel like I'm on the right path.
Yes,
But then when it's
that's right. You got it.
let's
All right, let's hydrate. Hydrate and cleanse the energy. Okay, Hilda. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've ever read for Hilda. Oh, you're making me nervous, Hilda.
you
No,
know
I'm
what?
just kidding.
You did. You was on a. I would call you on a that time.
I don't remember. I
Well,
could have.
listen, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, so Hilda. I'm all right.
I would love to do this again. I would love to do this again. I realize that you know what,
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Damn.
I'm gonna put it.
Both you and your sister getting these major arcana cards. You guys are
Wow,
definitely on the right path for sure. Wow, these are beautiful cards, Hilda. Okay.
beautiful.
And oh my goodness. Okay. Yes. Um, all right. Okay. So, so yeah, I did the same type of a path reading. So like past, present, future. So sort of, past doesn't have to mean like way back. It just means like, the recent
Right.
past energy and then current energy and then like maybe where we're headed in the near future. Um, so for the past card, I got the 10 of cups. Ten of Cups is a beautiful card in the tarot. It actually is normally representing love, support, connection, and family. Doesn't always have to be family, but I'm just like a yeah, like love and support, like some deep connection. And remember, Cups is all about emotion, so emotional
Mhm.
support as well, right? So that is like the recent past, and then coming into the current energy is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so the Wheel of Fortune is, just as it sounds, it's a turning point, right? But it's also like good luck, and it's a reminder that life is always moving, it's always changing. But the Wheel of Fortune's a good card to get, saying that there's like
Mhm.
good change coming. And I recently heard, I think it was Elizabeth. She was showing a deck on her channel. Elizabeth is the more intuitive me. And she was mentioning that the Wheel of Fortune doesn't always have to just go around in circles. As a matter of fact, more often it's a spiral, spirals in, spirals out. And that makes more sense, right, in
Yeah.
life, because sometimes it's not all about just round and round. Sometimes it's like in and out and all around, because that's how life is. It's a little messy sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, and I love the depiction of this card because it shows like a maze. And sometimes, like, yeah, we can get a little lost. Like, okay, where the hell am I going now? And like, what's coming down the? Am I making the right move? Kind of thing. But when you pair this with the Ten of Cups, and certainly with the next card, it's a positive card to get, because it's showing you are on the right path. I mean, you literally said, "Am I on the right path?" And it's literally showing you,
Mhm.
yeah, you're on the right path. um, and then this is a beautiful card for the future. The near future is awakening. So awakening is also known as the judgment card, and judgment is all about getting clarity in life. It's a wake up call. It's your soul's purpose. It's your life's purpose. That's what you're waking up to. So that's where you're on the path to there. Um on the awakening card, we also had the hummingbird that came out. I know you and I are deeply connected to the hummingbird. We have hummingbirds that visit us all the time on our properties. Uh, So there's that. And then we have this little mask that is here. And that is just reminding us, it's a couple different things. One, it's reminding us that we don't have to wear the mask, that we could. What is happening in that room? My my son's room is here, and he's banging and dropping stuff. Good lord. Sorry, Hilda. It's the mask can mean the mask that we wear. And I mean, okay, let's face it. A lot of people talk about, oh, the mask, like take off the mask and everything. Well, there are certain masks in life that we have to wear for our own
Mhm.
protection. Okay, so it's not that we're trying to be somebody we're not, but in certain circumstances in this world, there are certain masks that we have to wear in order to navigate safely through life, let's just say. Okay,
Mhm.
because, like, for example, if we walk into a doctor's office, whatever, we can't sometimes walk in and be our most authentic, badass
Mhm.
selves, because they're going to be like, you can leave now. Like, what the hell is this? But there's a time and place for everything, you know what I mean? But I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can still be your authentic self, and blend in certain places that we need to, because it's just how it is out here. Sometimes we have to blend in order to do that. Um, so there's that. But it also reminds you to be careful and wary of the mask that other people wear, right?
Yeah.
Just to decipher who's who. But I don't get a bad feeling from this charm. It's just be aware. That's all. And as a matter of fact, I say be aware because it came with this caution cone, right? So just be aware of the people that you meet along your path, because it kind of fell underneath this card, right? So it's just discernment. That's all. We also have "You Are Loved," and I love this because you are loved. And we have three peas in a pod. So the power of three. I mean,
Agree.
there you go. And then we have the oracle card, "You Are Loved," because you definitely are, Hilda. You are loved, in more ways than one. You are a big spirit with so much to give, and I believe that you've only scratched the surface in terms of this. And of course, what is Hilda without a little humor? So we have certified silly goose. that
Mm,
also came out with "You Are Loved." So we got the goose and the swan because you got to have some humor. We can't always be so damn serious
that's right.
um, in that as well. So yeah, like overall, that's a beautiful message to just
Yeah.
say that you are loved, you are supported, you are on the right path to your true purpose. I mean, if you want to sum it up, that's what it is, and you are loved. So
I'm gonna tell you, it is so spot on in that you know, I don't know if anybody else has been feeling this, but I feel that feeling, and it's been intensified. I know I'm on that shift of change. I know that there's a reversal happening in my life, and it's in powerful things are happening right now, and it just I'm embracing this moment, and I'm gonna ride this wave out as long as it's gonna go.
yes, yes. Absolutely. That's beautiful. Wow, that's really beautiful energy, Hilda. Holy crap. I mean, all of your readings were really powerful, really beautiful. And let me just see. Did we miss? I just don't want to miss anything.
No, I don't.
Did anybody
You
else
know,
want
I'm very bad, guys. I haven't been going back and checking on that, and I know that that's my job. Like, I feel like I'm in that passenger seat again. I
to?
want
Oh,
to.
you're
What?
fine. You're fine. Okay. So there we go. That is that. So is
I
there any
thank you. I thank you. And I don't want to keep you longer than what we need to. And you've worked all day, and you've also worked all week. You came with the energy, or you come with the love, and all those things to the table. And I feel the love in the chat, because you know what? You are loved. Talking about me being loved, you are loved. You are loved. You are appreciated. And if you didn't know it, which I know you do, but I'm telling you anyways, again, that I, for you, appreciate you, and I thank spirit every day since our alignment, because every day is different, and that shift has created change. And I'm just happy to have this chat right now, from Lexi to Selena to Care Bear to my sister Susie, all of you, to be a part of this journey with me and a part of this live, because as I said, I may do 250,000 lives after this. I don't think that we go that high, but my whole point being is, but none of them will be as special as this one. And there's something about the intimacy that has went on this evening, which is also special, that sometimes is missing when the group gets too big. So
Mhm.
this is
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. Thanks for creating the space for us to connect, for inviting me on and allowing me to read
You
for the
are
community and,
loved.
and for you. And yeah,
My
I really
pleasure.
enjoyed it.
My pleasure.
Yes.
And what'll be nice is, and I don't know how that works at the same time. I don't know how that works, and I don't know where that's going with, but you know me. I'll have us in China before we
Yeah.
even, before we even go downtown. I want us to go to China, right? Anyway,
Yes.
my spirit. But I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. And as I said, I don't want to keep you any longer than what we need to. And I'm going to leave you this evening with, love, healing, and good vibrations. And hopefully um, that today you are a little bit more aware than what you were yesterday.
Mhm.
Uh, to the path, or further along your path that you are on. So in saying that, I'm going to leave you on this Friday evening leaving you making a great evening and with peace and love. Bye.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.